Have you ever been waiting for a text from your avoidant ex saying, I miss you? I have, and it never came. You're probably never going to get that text saying, I miss you, or I'm thinking about you, or can we talk, or I messed up. They'd rather choke on their silence than put those words in writing, especially in writing, because that means it's forever. But missing you, that happens in secret. And today I'm pulling back the curtain on the ways that avoidants actually miss you, even while pretending that they don't. They'll convince themselves that they don't miss you, like just to do it. That's how stubborn dismissive avoidance can be. If you're new, hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a mindset mastery coach, transformational therapist, and attachment style specialist, and I'm here to help you heal and understand what the hell just happened in that relationship, okay? If you're looking for a one-on-one session and you're like, I'm ready to heal, I'm ready to stop ruminating, to stop obsessing over that person, click the link below for a free 15-minute discovery call with me, and we'll decide if we're a good fit to work together. And I'm going to help you stop ruminating. I'm going to help you get unstuck from this person, from this cycle, from your patterns. It's going to be so much more than what you expected. I love, love, love working with people. I use hypnosis and other tools, and we're going to change the way that you perceive what just happened to you, break the patterns, and interrupt the pain. So looking forward to working with you guys. Now, I want to speak to something for a second. I want to speak to the sting of silence, because I know what that feels like, having gone through a divorce with a dismissive avoidant. When they don't reach out, it can feel like you didn't mean anything to them. It can feel like the whole thing was made up in your head, or like you're the one left behind while they're just casually strolling along, moving forward with their life. And you're like, what the hell just happened? What tornado just flew through my life? And how can they just walk away like that? Like I never mattered. But silence isn't the absence of missing. I'm going to talk about silence a lot in my videos, because their silence, people mistake their silence for they've moved on, or them moving on, which means like, oh, they're at peace or they're healing. Silence isn't the absence of missing. It's the avoidance of admitting that they miss you, of admitting that their world just came crashing down around them, right? That their life is on fire, that they don't understand why they keep on messing up relationships with good people over and over and over, why they push people away, why they're in so much internal pain. I can tell you guys with certainty that I had a lens to look into the mind and the heart of an avoidant. And there was a heart of gold in there underneath the criticism towards self, like the self-hatred, the self-loathing, that defective core wound, and then taking it out and projecting it on me, on the person that loved him. There's so much pain behind the dismissive avoidance core wound. There's so much pain behind that person that you love or loved. They miss you in secret because their nervous system is on fire. They're dysregulated. And missing you equals vulnerability. And to them, vulnerability is like death. It can feel like death to a nervous system who's in fight or flight. Literally. So it's a threat to their sense of I'm going to try that again. It's a threat to their sense of control, to their perceived sense of control. If they can somehow control you, control the outcome, control the narrative, control the story, control the past, control the future, et cetera, can you imagine, like, what does that do to a person's nervous system when you're constantly just clinging and holding on and gripping and trying to stay in control? It's exhausting. I'm going to guess that person has migraines, neck aches, shoulder aches, spasms. Like, they're going to have issues in their body. They're going to have issues sleeping. They're going to be irritable. They're going to lash out. So they understand, though, that to admit that they miss you would be like taking off the mask finally at last. And they haven't taken off that mask since they were kids, because that mask saved them. This is what you guys have to understand. All my critics, okay, and I have them like every other creator. That's fine. I don't care. But here's the thing you got to understand. The mask that the DA wears, it saved their life in childhood. Literally, like emotionally saved them, okay, from certain death, according to their nervous system. You have to understand their nervous system has been dysregulated their entire life. They don't know any different. You can't just snap they can't snap their fingers and get regulated. That's not how this works. That's why you'll hear people say it's going to take years for that person to heal. You have to understand the nervous system, how it works, what nervous system state you're stuck in, fight or flight, freeze. Maybe you're in ventral if you're lucky and you mostly are secure and you mostly are stable. A lot of us, though, if you're watching this, you've been in fight or flight your entire life, or you've been in dorsal vagal shutdown, like Eeyore, depressing energy your entire life. Just trying to like pull yourself out of the hole. So they may miss you privately, but they're not going to admit it publicly. And that's the kicker. Like, you can't wait around for somebody to maybe one day kind of sort of admit that they miss you or that they want to be back with you or want to work things out. They have to be able to communicate this in a way where you guys can work together as partners. And that's probably not going to happen. But here's some hidden signs that they miss you. Driving past your old spots or replaying routines in their head. Now, you're not going to see this or know this, right? You might see them driving by, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Avoidants are going to do things behind the scenes, right? They're going to keep the mask on while they're stalking you or while they're, thinking about you. They may even do it subconsciously and not even realize that it's connected to you. Like they may buy certain foods, for instance, that you used to eat together or make a certain meal and then be reminded of you, but they're not going to let themselves get too deep in that memory or go too deep into their feelings or their heart, because that's just a place that it's very scary to them. It's very scary to them to go to that place of depth and pain. They don't have the resiliency and their nervous system yet to be able to handle that. So one thing that I've noticed that DAs have told me they do is that they will compare new partners to you. And this is ouch, right? This hurts because they've moved on maybe at the speed of lightning and started dating somebody new, but you don't realize that behind the scenes, they're comparing that partner to you. You may be the phantom ex at this point, especially if it's been a while, or maybe you're starting to become the phantom ex in their mind. And if you don't know what the phantom ex is, I'm going to just kind of quickly summarize it. It's basically when a dismissive avoidant puts an ex on a pedestal because a certain amount of time has passed and they kind of have forgotten the way that you triggered them or the things that you broke up for in the first place. Like they've forgotten all of that. And suddenly they're like, gosh, she or he was so lovely. Gosh, I wonder why can't this person be more like them? God, we were just so good together. But here's the thing, the moment you get into their orbit again physically, they're going to be like, oh yeah, they're going to get triggered. Because anybody who's done a certain amount of healing work on themselves is going to trigger the dismissive avoidant or any dysregulated nervous system, really. So they also will have these late night kind of random memories that pop up in their head when they're watching a movie or when the house is silent or the kids are asleep, or they're alone. They're forced to be in their aloneness and there's no distractions. Like there's nothing on TV and they've been scrolling aimlessly for, an hour. And suddenly they're like, oh my God, I'm alone. And they may even have an epiphany or realization like, this is my pattern. I've chosen to be alone. Then they might convince themselves, I'm better off alone. It's better this way. We just weren't a match. We were incompatible. They may go through this process, guys, but they may lie awake thinking of you, wondering, wishing, hoping that maybe somehow things could be different. But even though this is proof of missing, they're never going to verbalize this and you're never going to see this. So here's why they can't admit it. There's a fear of literally their identity collapsing, that mask completely coming off if they admit that they miss you. And then they would have to go into vulnerability. They would have to show up, in that ventral nervous system state. Like somehow I would have to show up stable. I would have to show up, as myself, as my true self. And they don't know how to do that. And they have this inherent belief that emotions or vulnerability equals weakness, right? That it means someone can attack me, that it means that if I'm vulnerable, then I'm more vulnerable to attack. And again, to a nervous system that's been chronically dysregulated, it can feel like death. It can feel like for them to change and heal can feel like death because yes, an old version of them would have to die. That is true. That is correct. So their story that they tell themselves is, if I don't feel it, then it didn't really matter. And that is just simply, it's sad, but it's simply not true. All right, ready to be kicked in the gut? Neither am I. But here's the truth. They'd rather lose you than lose control. And I know you guys feel this because you guys have lived this. I've lived it going through my breakup and divorce with my ex-husband. They would rather lose you than lose that perceived false sense of security and control. They're terrified of the mask coming off, of the mask slipping even a little bit. So let me empower you for a moment, please, because that is what I love to do most. Missing you doesn't mean they're capable of showing up for you. Missing you doesn't, or comparing their new partner to you doesn't mean anything. It just means they're stuck. They're stuck and they need to heal. They need to process decades and decades of trauma. They need to unpack their childhood wounds and pain and their attachment wounds. So don't mistake their private ache for readiness. That means they're ready to come back or that they're even ready for a relationship, because chances are they weren't even ready in the first place. You deserve a love that admits it, not a love that shrinks or hides. And you know that. I know that you know that, guys. I'm just here to remind you. So if you're wondering, okay, so they're in pain, they miss me, but what do they actually do with all of that missing and all that pain and heartache? And what do they do with that? Where does it go? Here's the shocking part. Avoidants do obsess, right? And in my next video, I'm going to show you the twisted hidden ways that they obsess over you after leaving and why it will never, ever, ever look the way you expect. Guys, I'm telling you, like, there's a whole hidden world of dismissive avoidance. And it has to do with a nervous system in chronic dysregulation, distress, a nervous system that truly believes, like, I'm defective. I don't belong here. I don't deserve to be here. I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve love. And I know a lot of people think that I'm defending the DA. I'm not. I'm explaining the science behind it. I'm explaining the psychology behind it. I'm explaining the nervous system behind it, so that you maybe in your own healing, as you let them go, because that is the best and healthiest decision to do if somebody is not working on themselves or their patterns or healing, then you can perhaps release them and let them go with love in your heart and understanding and even empathy, and still make the choice to choose yourself, which I hope you do. I hope you choose yourself over and over and over again. It's the best decision you'll ever make, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. And look for the link to that video below, by the way. Take care.